Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Screen Junkies Movie Fights, powered by the Popcorn Talk Network. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hey, Screen Junkies, welcome. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and you're here watching movie fights. How exciting. You're either getting ready for the big game, or you don't give a crap about the big game, and hopefully you're watching us instead.
Sports ball.
Either way, welcome. I'm so excited. This is such a fun week. There was a lot of big news this week, so I'm glad we had some stuff to talk about. Obviously, at the end, actually, we have a couple. I'm going to tease a couple things at the very end, so stay tuned. Next week's movie fights is going to be a big one. I'm going to tease this week's Honest trailer, so stick around to the end. You'll get some teases. Also, big news, a Fantastic Four trailer dropped. Ghostbusters cast, the Indiana Jones reboot with Chris Pratt. We're going to go through all of that. As always, if you don't like a fight we're talking about, bottom right corner on YouTube, you can skip ahead to the next battle, so please just fast forward. Don't leave. Also, I have to thank our friends here at Popcorn Talk Network, Schmoes Know Podcast Network, all those guys. I love all the shows, the channels that they're bringing us. We're so happy to be here. We're so happy to be part of the family. Please check them out. Links in the description below. And obviously, we're also on YouTube. I'm sorry, on iTunes. So be sure to subscribe to us there, comment, rate, all the things that you do on iTunes. Now that that's all out of the way, let's meet our challengers for today. You know him from Honest Trailers. He writes the game trailers, the regular trailers. He writes a lot of stuff for us over here. It's Spencer Gilbert.
Yeah. Thank you for having me back, Andy. I don't care what these two were saying earlier. You're a great judge and a handsome man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Steady,
Someone's calling me, so I'm turning off my phone. Next to him, we are so happy to have her here. It's Alicia Malone from Schmoes Know.
I'm really nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous.
I'm a terrible debate. I want to know what
These
I'm
two guys
doing.
are only like the most aggressive, meanest fighters we have.
I'm
so
the
don't be too
underdog.
worried.
She was great on Screen Junkies already.
I'm
so
the
I don't know
little
what you're
Aussie
worried about.
battler. So.
You're gonna kill it. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, no mercy.
I'm rooting for you.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to, but I am.
Good.
Movie fights, not movie friends.
That's right.
Next to her, you know him, you love him. He's Nick Mundy's mortal enemy, and he's from I-Mockery. Is it .com?
Yeah.
And
.edu.
/Roger Barr.
It is an education, actually. Yeah. Thanks for having me back, man. And, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Just because you're not Nick Mundy doesn't mean I'm against punching you. So I'm just letting you know.
We'll punch a girl.
And in
if-
fact, I'm sitting in Mundy's seat right now, which is weird. There's like this weird stench of failure in this seat. So I don't know.
Tweets are
it
coming.
just feels wrong. It just feels
Can't
wrong.
wait for the barrage of tweets Sunday responding to that. Next, and on the couch, it's the Dan Cam. He's been out for a while. He's back in. It's our undisputed champion of movie fights.
Oh, I dispute it.
Dan Murrell. Now, Dan, welcome. Now, to be clear to the fans and to you, I want to make sure you're up on this as well. We've now, you won a battle.
Yep.
Last week, Comic Book 19 won a battle. Winner of this battle and Comic Book 19 are going to take you on. Not next week. We have a different special fight next week, which we'll hype at the end. But the week after, he's going to put the belt on the line, so one of you could be wearing that belt.
I
is
want
what the
that
moral
belt.
is here.
I want that belt, even though I suspect that he showers with it.
To be fair, he had it in the car, guys. We made him bring it out. He's not that.
We're moving.
Oh, did you saw him last episode? Look, the smug look on his face.
Well, I had to
priceless.
intimidate Mundy. I was trying to throw Mundy off his game, and it worked.
I don't know. I think you're pretty proud of that, man.
He is very proud, and you guys will be too if you win it. So let's get to the battles and see if you got a shot. I'm excited. Let's start it in the great words of William Wallace.
Will you fight? That's pretty good.
That's a good
The
one.
music
Better
makes
than
it.
last-
Thank
Yeah,
you,
a little
Mel,
better.
for the intro, Mel. Great.
It's good to start with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, good.
All right, the
We just
first
lost
trailer
half of
for
our viewers.
the first trailer for Fantastic Four dropped. Finally, there has been so much drama and things surrounding this movie. We finally got to see they're actually making a movie. It's not a train wreck. They shot a movie. I think some of the news made it feel like they weren't even really able to make a cohesive movie. So it's finally there. We got our first taste of it. Question number one, round one. John, I can't say that right. Kikianis? Kikianis. John Kikis, I apologize.
Quinones.
Just give it
Cojones.
He asks on Twitter, did the Fantastic Four trailer get us excited about the new movie? Did it do its job? Spencer, starting with you.
Yes, it did get me personally excited. I think you mentioned that before, how everyone's expectations could not have been lower. I was not excited for this movie until I saw the trailer. I don't think Josh Trank's mother was excited for this movie until the trailer came out, and it showed us a couple things that are pretty interesting. Number one, it's not a found footage movie, which people were worried about. You know, everyone thought it was going to be Chronicle 2.0, and it looks cinematic. That's something to say. It
Looks like a movie.
That's something.
Really making a strong
That's
point.
something to say.
It's like a professional movie.
Okay, moving on. The cast is sneakily amazing. Seeing them all together, you've got like Michael Jordan coming off of Fruitvale Station, Kate Mara from House of Cards, Miles Teller from Whiplash. Like, these are the best 4 young actors in Hollywood, you could say right now. You could make that argument, and seeing them all together, one could say, seeing them all together is pretty exciting. You know, this bleeds into the next question, but I like that they're doing a serious take on the Fantastic Four. We've already seen what the silly, ridiculous Fantastic Four movie looks like. It came out in 2005. It was called Fantastic Four, and it was terrible. So I'm excited that they're taking this in a new direction.
And Dan, can you fact check? Is Josh Trunk's mom actually excited? Or see if you can find
I
that.
spoke with Mrs. Trank last night.
And she is.
And she's on
Make
the
sure
fence.
she's alive.
She's on the fence.
Oh, she's on the fence.
She's
Oh,
leaning
really?
positive.
Okay.
So
Alicia,
basically,
where do you?
in conclusion, that this is benefiting from everyone's low expectations, but it exceeded my low expectations. That's
Alicia,
exciting.
where do you stand? Are you excited?
I'm not excited by the trailer. I do agree that the movie looks great in terms of the cast. The cast is great. I like the director. But as for the trailer itself, it is such a paint-by-numbers trailer. I feel like I've seen that trailer so many times with the grim looks and then the narration. I feel like I could edit that trailer. And something that I'm really looking forward to seeing in Fantastic Four is the 4 of them together. We don't get to see that in the trailer, and I'd love to see them speak as well. I know it's a teaser trailer and there'll be more in the future because it's coming out in August, but as for this trailer, it doesn't get me excited because I just want to see more. Right now, I'm just meh, I'm on the fence about
Miles
it.
Teller mumbles something at the end. He's like,
Roger, where do you stand?
I'm not excited about it. The Fantastic Four have always been kind of a group to me in general. I've always felt like there's better versions of each of their characters. Like Mr. Fantastic, I'd rather see Plastic Man. You know, Wonder Woman is cooler than the Invisible Woman and her invisible jet. I like that more. The Hulk is better than the Thing. I'm just not that.
But none of those 2 people are in the same group.
Right, I know, but they're not that interesting even when they're together. They're just not that interesting characters. And on top of it, the trailer, I mean, it's basically Interstellar is the trailer, and I loved Interstellar, but that I know, but the trailer there, it's like a carbon copy.
Any sci-fi movie.
They even have like a truck or just some like beat up car driving through farmland with dust scattering up behind it. That is Interstellar. That is absolutely Interstellar. So I don't know. There's just nothing in it that's making me go, oh man, I gotta see it. Plus, we have visual confirmation that the Thing is CGI. I mean, he is CGI there. And the one good thing I can say about the other Fantastic Four movies is that they actually did a pretty good job on the Thing's costume. And I really do.
So do you like that the Hulk is? You don't like that the Hulk is CGI in Avengers?
what, you want the plastic costume?
You want Michael Chiklis?
I just want to see a real person interacting with these guys and stuff.
They said that they
I don't
kept
know.
his eyes. That was their big thing.
They kept his
They
eyes?
kept the character's
Yeah, all
eyes.
right.
He's so
See,
expressive in his eyes.
I gotta see his face, but nevertheless, it's just one of those movies that I'm just not that interested in seeing.
We do know he wasn't wearing pants.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do know that.
That
yeah.
was the most exciting part of the trailer.
Yes.
Rocky dong. out
And
there.
probably the only time we saw them together. All right, so
Right, very
Spencer,
end of it.
thoughts? for
Here's
these
what's
comments?
exciting, though, is that we didn't even know that this was going to be a movie. Forget visual confirmation that the Thing was showing up. We were like, what is this? All we know is that it started late and there were problems and he may have like trashed his hotel room. The fact that this looks like a by-the-numbers, boring kind of interstellar-y thing is a huge win for me, and I'm excited. Like, oh, he might have pulled something off here, and that's exciting.
But I don't think production problems lead to it not becoming a movie. They put so much money into it. It has to be a movie. It's going to be a movie. Yeah. They're going to make something of it. Titanic had massive problems and went on to be a huge hit.
And they're releasing this trailer pretty late, for a movie that's coming out this summer. I mean, that does not show a lot of confidence on their part in what has been filmed and stuff. So,
how many people do we think in the studio were sitting around watching that trailer, giving notes to ensure that trailer?
I think a lot.
Enough.
It's not just me who thinks that there was clearly clearly a
That's
team
why they
of
went the
an
safe
army.
route with the trailer and just kept it very standard.
They're like,
Yeah.
Interstellar got people excited. Let's
just do the same thing.
do the same thing. We got astronauts in this movie. Perfect.
And I'm totally fine with that. This isn't Interstellar. This is a movie that no one believes in, and now this has somewhat maybe of a chance of being good.
But it's
And
Still
that's
not
exciting.
exciting.
It's about being exciting about it. Yeah, and it's just not.
I'm excited for the underdogs. I'm pulling for it. I believe in this movie.
I'm just curious, do any of you read the comics? Like, or who? I know you said you're not a fan. Like, so none of you are actually even hardcore
No one's a
fans.
fan
No.
of the Fantastic
So that's
Four.
why the trailer has to make you excited. It has to make people like me who know nothing
Right.
about the comics excited, and so far it hasn't.
Spencer, any other last points?
You know, I think that you guys are all being too hard on it. That we really don't know enough yet, and this gave us enough to give hope that this might be a good movie, and that's something.
It gives hope that it's a movie that you could watch.
Yeah, which is exciting from a movie
that
you can't
could
watch that you'll
when it
stay
comes
away
out
from
on
no matter
demand.
what.
Not something you'd want to go see in the theater. It's just not that interesting. It really isn't.
It went from 0 interest to 0.1 interest, and to me, that's exciting.
That's not exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's exciting. It's not like even you're excited.
I'm cheering.
Are you arguing devil's advocate on this one?
Yeah.
You should have stated it at the beginning at least. I gotta go. I don't think we sort of are in an impasse because there's not much more to argue about it. I don't want to keep it going. But I think what you said, Alicia, was give me the book. It was so paint by numbers.
Yeah.
Was a very good argument. You were close, but then you lost me. And what the hell's the thing supposed to be if he's not CGI? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Have you not seen the other Fantastic Four movies?
Michael
They did
Jenkins
fine
was
with that.
huge.
Silly Batman and Robin plastic suit thing you
No,
want?
they actually made him look good in those. That's the one part of those movies. Everyone has
he?
said it.
He looked
Yeah,
okay, I
Dan,
guess.
fact check that.
And agrees. All right, well, I think
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo as Hulk looks even cooler, no?
He looked.
So does Caesar in Planet of the Apes. Like, I
but
feel like
look,
we've gotten to a point
look,
where we can make
here's
the CGI
thing.
work.
What the Hulk does, like physically and just acrobatically jumping over buildings and stuff, is way more than what the Thing ever really does.
This is going to break into our
that's why.
next fight.
Yeah.
Well, let's save that. So, but anyway, point is to Alicia. Good to see her on the board right away. Congrats.
There's
I
your
got
confidence
something.
booster
I
right
think
there.
the reason, and again, the justification I don't think they really told us much. It seems like their word, and it was the most bland trailer we've
Standard.
seen 100 times. Good points. All right, round 2, keeping the Fantastic Four theme going, which I think now we'll have hopefully a little bit more fight here. Should a Fantastic movie be so serious? It feels like this was this? Oh, sorry, this wasn't on Twitter. It feels like this movie totally. We've all said it. They're going that serious route, the Nolan approach. Is that how Fantastic Four? I know you guys are now apparently not fans of the book, but you know the comics. But you know enough that he's a stretchy dude. She's an invisible. we know enough of what the deal is.
Stretchy dude.
Should the
That'd be
movie
a better title for the movie. Actually.
Stretchy
I'd say
dude.
Stretchy Dude.
should the movie be taken so seriously? And we're gonna start now with you, Alicia.
I say yes. Even though the trailer didn't get me excited, I like that the tone that they're going for, because of the fact the last Fantastic Four franchise, you have to do something completely different from that. And that just got a little bit silly. It was too much. So now to go to a dark tone, I think that's very clever. Also, that's what Fox does really well. We've seen that with Days of Future Past, and this has the writer from Days of Future Past. To set a superhero world in a more realistic setting, I think is always a good move. I always love that when superhero movies do that. And I love the fact that Josh Trank has said in articles that he is going for more of a Cronenberg feel. So a science fiction Cronenberg movie. So I'm still on the fence about whether it'll be good, but I like the serious tone that they're going for. I think that's the right move.
Roger, thoughts?
No, this is a movie called The Fantastic Four. You cannot have a serious movie about a group called The Fantastic Four. Hollywood is way too focused on basically trying to make the next Dark Knight. They want all these superhero movies to be dark and brooding, but all the comics we grew up on, including the Fantastic Four, were fun. And that the Fantastic Four of all groups should be a fun, silly movie. I know they did a poor job in the previous incarnation, but that doesn't mean with the right director and the right script, it can't be done. But even more importantly, you have like the old Superman movies, like the Christopher Reeve films. Look how lighthearted those were, but they still had some seriousness to them, but they're not dark or anything. And those movies were so much fun. And one of the other things is there's the Roger Corman 1994 movie.
Can't unsee that.
Right, we cannot unsee that. But it's actually better than the 2000 ones, which is sad, because it gave us the best depiction of Doctor Doom, and he's constantly clanking his fingers together like a classic comic book evil villain and all. I think we're missing that kind of thing. And One of my favorite things that's ever been said about the Fantastic Four was Norm Macdonald on his comedy album Ridiculous. He does this sketch where it's the Fantastic Four basically arguing about their names.
The names. Where did Mr. Fantastic
Why does
from?
Reed Richards get to be called Mr. Fantastic? Because their names are all based on their powers, except for his. And they're like,
and I'll be Mr. Fantastic.
yeah, and they're like, wait, what? Guess what that? No, you
Should've
should
been
be
Stretchy
Stretch.
Dude.
Yeah. So Stretchy Dude, exactly. I don't know. A group called the Fantastic Four, I cannot take that seriously. You just can't. I'm sorry.
Spencer.
I think it should be serious because you can't unsee what they've done in the past. It is a inherently silly comic book. I'm sorry, but the premise of the Fantastic Four is that the ultimate version or normal is they go on a weird science mission, something happens, and then they all come back with the most random grab bag of powers that Stan Lee pulled out of his acid-riddled mind in the 70s.
Right, and you want to make that serious?
I'm saying that's your only chance. That's your only hope left,
agree.
is if you make that just kind of the background, and it's really about, you're saying it has bad characters. I think it has bad powers, but the characters are good. You have Reed Richards, who's like this aloof science genius, and he's dating an invisible woman, and she literally feels invisible.
Adopted as well.
And they're this misfit group of teenagers.
Her character is so poorly written. She basically can't exist without Reed Richards. She is not a good
she's like a
female
battered,
icon. I'm sorry, she's not.
I'm not saying she's a female icon. I'm saying they're all these flawed weirdos, and that's a story you can tell whether they have superpowers or whether they're in, Reseda.
Look, the person that everyone loves in the Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom, because no one cares about the Fantastic Four.
They just love his costume. They just love he looks cool and intimidating. I'm saying if you take these characters, you can try to make a real serious movie about them, and then they fit in Matthew Vaughn's X-Men universe. You can see them teaming up with Fassbender and
because that's
McAvoy.
the thing, like Marvel Studios does the funny thing really well, but Fox, I don't think they have that to pull off. So.
Yeah, they can do the real relatable character drama, and I think it's worth a shot.
Is there? I mean, to me, there's when I think what you're saying, I think like Batman and Robin, right? To the nth degree of when they go sort of the silly, lighthearted comic book look. Like, is there a way to do that? That's not Batman and Robin. Like, I'm just curious. Like,
well, I mean, like Tim Burton's Batman. I mean, that it has like a bit of a dark tone to it and all, but it's still fun. I mean, look what they did with the Joker and all that stuff, and Catwoman and everything. It's great. It's a lot of fun, but it's not just like this dark brooding. We're all so cynical and jaded now that we can't have fun with a comic book movie. All I got to think about is those old Superman movies. Those are like the perfect balance. I'm not talking about like Quest for Peace, where it got like totally bonkers or anything like that.
Now.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, Superman 2, the original Superman, those are fantastic, fun movies.
But they've made 3 lighthearted Fantastic Four movies, and they're all terrible.
Yeah.
They
want to do something different.
I'm counting Corman.
Right, you're counting.
I count Corman.
I don't know about counting. Corman.
You gotta watch that.
Corman, it
never came out officially, right?
The entire movie is on YouTube. Yeah. The Corman one was made just so they could hold on to the rights. They had no faith in that movie whatsoever.
It was the Spider-Man of its day.
But yes, they made 2 bad ones already. But that doesn't mean with the right director and script, you can't make a fun one that's actually good and entertaining. They also had a pretty. The cast was not good for that one. I think the cast on this is.
Where do we think they went wrong with the new ones? Like, what would you guys say? I'm just curious. The two.
They stuck too
ones.
close to the comic book. They made it to about 4 astronauts that go into space and get hit by gamma rays and then come back with powers. And they focused on that and them coming to terms with superpowers instead of who these people were beforehand.
I just didn't care about the characters, and I think that's what it comes down to, and I think that's what this movie is trying to do, is to give you the origin story and make you care about the characters.
But I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, did they take it seriously in those movies?
I don't think so.
Not seriously.
Do you feel like they?
I don't feel like they did.
They took it seriously enough. Yeah, they did. They tried the whole.
There was a lot of jokes.
Every single
Human
5
Torch.
seconds he's going, flame on, flame on,
Yeah,
flame
exactly.
on.
They embraced some of that stuff, but they did a lot of the serious stuff, like especially the drama between Victor Von Doom and Mr. Fantastic and all that, their previous background and all that. They
Julian
covered all that,
McMahon.
and then they try and introduce him
Because it
the
was
Silver
actually
Surfer.
too ridiculous to make him the son of a sorceress from Latveria. Yeah, they toned that
They
down
screwed
like
up the
a little
Silver
bit.
Latveria is in the new trailer and stuff, and they're already
It's a
hinting
link
at
to
that.
Wikipedia.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean anything.
They're doing it. They're doing it. We know they're doing it. This is just a trailer. They're showing us Interstellar
You
to get
can't
us all
deny
hyped
history.
up. Yeah.
You can't deny history. It happens. It's on the record.
So, just for my last sake here of trying to divvy up points, because part of me feels like they did take that. Now that I'm replaying it back, right? The old ones did sort of have some fun with it. While they took this, they tried to do what I feel like you're pitching is what I'm just trying to see. Whereas I feel like Wait, was it Alicia said putting, or who said putting them in the X-Men universe?
Both kind of did.
We both kind of. that to me is an interesting point of like we kind of probably would prefer that in this day and age for them to be in that sort of tone.
And it makes sense.
Did you dislike the X-Men movies?
That's not, I mean, I liked the first couple of X movies. We've already talked on the show that I was not a fan of Days of Future Past. I thought it was a little too dark. The only thing I liked, Quicksilver was awesome. That was, remember we talked about this, like that. I wanted to see just an entire Quicksilver movie, but
great.
I thought Days of Future Past was not that great.
Really
It
clever.
It was a great movie.
So clever.
And that was the one fun, lighthearted moment in there. And so you can still have a fun, lighthearted moment in Fantastic Four, as I'm sure they will. But you can totally see like Miles Teller and James McAvoy working on some science thing, going off to get Magneto as Fassbender. Like they're all the same age.
Showing them all the little kids and all that stuff.
Yeah, like the X-Men. I think it's a really good match.
Yeah.
Mix and match. A mix.
Okay, so calling it, I think it's hard for me to your arguments were pretty similar is where I'm struggling, but I think you guys both won, so I'm giving you both points!
This Monday seat is cursed.
Dan, any thoughts?
Just a little cleanup there. Spencer, you said Stan Lee pulled their powers out of his acid neural mind in the 70s. It was actually the 60s.
Also, I don't think he ever took acid.
Also, he probably didn't take it. And you got your superhero origins a little mixed up. The Hulk was hit with gamma rays.
Yes.
Fantastic Four was hit with cosmic rays.
Space mumbo jumbo.
And also, Stretchy Dude, another person who thought that was a good name for Mr. Fantastic was The Simpsons, because in Treehouse of Horror 10, they all got superpowers, and Bart is the Mr. Fantastic-like character, and he named himself Stretch Dude.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Good fact there, Dan. You're doing your job well.
If there's ever an honest trailers about this, call it Stretch Dude.
Yeah.
Stretch
So
man.
Spencer and Alicia got points on that?
Yes.
Yay.
Sorry, your arguments, you pretty much teamed up. I'm sorry I didn't pick one. I was gonna, but you both said interesting things. Round 3. We talked a little bit about this actually in our first episode of Movie Fights, which you haven't seen. Go back and revisit. We cast out the Ghostbusters, and I think we were pretty close on a couple of them, actually. I feel
Mundy called it.
yeah, didn't he?
He got 3 out of 4.
He picked
3 out of
Leslie
4.
Jones,
He put
didn't he?
Ernie Hudson in the Leslie Jones role.
But
No,
someone, I
Leslie
think,
Jones was in it.
someone did
He
pick
did
Leslie
put
Jones,
Kate
whether
McKinnon
it made it into the show or not. Someone did actually pick her. Monday, okay. Anyway, so watch that. You can go back to the playlist and check it out. But we're going to revisit that fight just because now they finally announced it. We got a lot of comments. We're going to do it again. And I don't... Were you here? You were
Yeah.
in that episode.
Yeah,
you
I was
were
way off.
You were way off. So now that we know who it is, Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live, and Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live, what do we think about this cast? Are we excited, or is this sort of an expected choice and we're not? We're still not excited. We're going to start with you, Roger.
I think it's semi-expected, but I'm actually looking forward to this. I think Ghostbusters 3 was, I mean, it's been in development hell for a long time. We all know that. Bill Murray was never really on board with it. Harold Ramis is now gone. I think the whole project just was going to be awful. So they've decided to just wipe the slate clean and try something different with it completely. I like that. I think people are like too hung up on the fact that it's an all-female cast. Who cares? If they're funny people, it's got potential. If you have a good writer, good director,
You can't be a
it has
female
potential.
Ghostbuster.
Right, exactly.
We know they're all men.
That's madness. So we have that. I think it's premature to write off this movie because we haven't even seen a trailer. We haven't even seen the logo for it. I mean, and
I'm
everyone,
sure it's the ghost holding.
I hope so. I hope so.
No, it's a
But-
reboot. It's
Right.
like-
Yeah.
A female ghost
Yeah. Female ghost with a dress.
doing a duck ballad.
Little bow on her head like Miss Pac-Man or something.
So you're coming around. You're excited now.
I'm excited for it. I think we Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon. They're the ones who have more to prove in this movie because they don't have as much previous work that we're all familiar with. But Leslie Jones was in a Ghost Chasers sketch on Saturday Night Live, and she plays this just person who's absolutely terrified of the ghost. She does not want to be there, and it was really funny. And Kate McKinnon, she's already proven herself to be pretty funny. She did a Justin Bieber impersonation that is just spot on in this Calvin Klein ad. It killed.
she's great.
It killed. So I have a lot of faith in these women. I would have liked to see someone who's not SNL alumni, so a little bit more variety in there. But I'll let some of you guys speak.
Spencer, you're up. What do you think?
I don't want to see another Ghostbusters, but that's the world we live in, and here it is. And here's the cast, which I'm also kind of mixed levels of excitement about. I really like Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon because I think they're great despite SNL, which has just been in a slump since I was a teenager. I guess everyone says that.
Yeah.
But I think that they are the shining like examples of what can still be good about that show. So it's exciting to see what they'll do with hopefully some good writing and a good director. That's exciting. Kristen Wiig, iffy in Skeleton Twins, but I think she still has our trust as a comedic actress to do whatever, and you just gotta assume
she was
she's
great
gonna
in
be good.
Bridesmaids. Yeah.
Yeah, my problem lies with Melissa McCarthy. And this is just more of like a personal vendetta. Not a vendetta, that's too strong of a word.
Jeez.
Wow.
I just think that at this point, she's Kevin James in a wig. She has just become Medea in whiteface. She is so, her shtick is so old for me, and just, she's gonna ham it up in every scene and try to steal it with like big physical comedy. And I'm so unexcited for that, because with the other three, I can see how they could kind of map onto other original Ghostbusters. With her, I just don't see how she fits in that dynamic, unless she's Slimer. And I'm excited for everyone except for McCarthy.
Well, it's interesting too. The plot breakdown of their characters is she's like the one who hires them. So it seems like once again with her new spy movie too, she's wants to be the. Seems like they really are going to play the archetype that she's done again.
From identity
Yeah.
theft, from the heat, from everything.
Alicia, where do you stand?
This is why my point is it's completely expected. This cast, as soon as we heard that Paul Feig was going to be directing Ghostbusters, everyone said Melissa McCarthy's going to be in it and Kristen Wiig is going to be in it. And yes, the other two are new to films, but we knew that they would go for SNL alums because that's what they did in the past, in the previous Ghostbusters movie. So absolutely expected. And as you guys said, Melissa McCarthy, we know she's going to do the same thing again. She does the same thing every single time. I think she's funny, but it's just getting really tiring. I'd prefer that they go for someone completely different, other girls that are up and coming. You know, look to the indies, get some new faces on there, and just completely different to what we expected. This is exactly what we expected.
I love your argument. I want to be clear. Is that how you feel, or are you playing devil's advocate?
A bit of both. I am excited
set
about
up
the
in the
cast,
first.
but
Just to be clear
I
to the
think it's
viewers, I
expected.
want to be fair to her, so she understands it. Everyone was sort of on the same page.
Yeah.
Are you standing firm? Is that your belief, or are you playing devil's advocate on this?
I am kind of half and half. I'm excited, but at the same time, I do believe that it's expected.
All right, well,
so I'm going to argue expected.
Okay, good. You're doing your. It's the word. You're doing
gonna
your.
hold it
This is
to
your
it.
own. Your own argument. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. This is awesome. So what do you? It sounds like you're all pretty much in agreement. Really. I mean.
Fairly. I mean, you know, like you guys are saying about Melissa McCarthy, she is the one I'm least excited about and stuff. I'm not saying she can't pull off something good, but I would have, again, I would have liked to see someone else in there. Maybe Emma Stone is someone I thought could actually do
someone
really,
like that.
really well.
That'd be good.
That wouldn't be expected.
Let's think about it. She was in Zombieland. She had training from Dr. Venkman himself doing some ghostbusting scene. I thought that's perfect. She was great in Birdman.
Yeah.
So someone like her, I think, would have been a really great character to kind of like round out the cast.
Rather
with
than
someone
the
who's
expected
like,
choice.
yeah, because everyone in this movie so far is a comedian. So I think it's someone like who's, you know, a little bit more of a grounded actress
Yes.
Versus just pure comedy would kind of
That's exactly
like
what I'm
really
saying.
round
Very good
things
point,
up.
but you're going against your
We're
argument
going
that
against
you're.
her, yeah. So
Are
I'm a little
you
confused.
excited or
That's my
not
argument.
excited?
I said no. I'm totally excited
But
about
now
the
we have
movie.
to convince her to be excited. And with that in mind, I would go for the two SNL girls. Women are amazing. And how can you not be excited about two relative unknowns being handed a franchise that's completely legendary? Like, that's interesting to see what they can do. I don't think they've never starred in a movie. I don't know if they've been in a movie before. But these are two people that really have done nothing except SNL. Like, that's interesting.
It's interesting, but it's also the expected choice that they'd go for these comedic actresses. I'd rather see
Of course, they're
someone
going to
new.
do a comedic
But come on,
actress.
I mean,
they're not going
in-
to cast
You
Dame
have to
Judi
pi-
Dench.
picture-
Like,
I want some.
What would have been an interesting take? Like, how would you have done the Ghostbusters if that's what's the unexpected version to you?
I would have loved people like Lizzie Kaplan. I think she's great.
That's expected.
Emma
That
Stone.
would've-
No,
that would've-
it's not
Emma
expected.
Stone would have been surprising. But
People like that who have been working hard in smaller roles and to give them a shot at this big franchise. That's what I wanted.
I think they're already kind of giving people big shots in this, like these two fairly, newcomers from SNL. Ernie Hudson was given a chance. I mean, that was kind of his big break.
that's only
back then.
because Eddie Murphy backed out.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
Written for Eddie Murphy, and
Yeah.
then he couldn't do it because of
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 2, I think, or.
Yeah, but I mean, he worked
Whatever
out
it's
great and all. So I I'm totally on board with these
can we all
characters.
Just take a moment to how cool that would have been if Eddie Murphy had been in Ghostbusters.
They wouldn't have cropped him out, that's for sure.
No.
Like I'm glad he chose Beverly Hills Cop because that clearly was an important movie too. But
Yeah, I remember Ernie he did an interview recently about how disappointed he was because when he took the role, he said like his character was like really fleshed out and everything, and then when he actually got there and started shooting, he doesn't appear till like the third act of the movie.
I'm just here for a paycheck. Bye.
Yeah.
all right, I think I have a ruling, but Dan, quickly, you were gonna add something?
Real quick, just to address Spencer's statement. Neither Kate McKinnon has not been in like a major motion picture. Leslie Jones was in top 5.
That was
Prince Rock's
That's like
movie.
the biggest movie.
You ate a whole
so,
apple pie. She's good.
So both of them are pretty much.
That's exciting.
You
2
know,
out of the 4 Ghostbusters
She's
we've
been
never
around
seen
for
in
a
a
while.
movie before.
Big Les was her comedian
Right.
stand-up.
I mean, they've
She's
had
done
little
a lot
bit
of stuff.
parts,
She's really funny.
Lots of television, but not a lot of big.
Right.
And this is a huge franchise.
Real quick though, I have 2 points that I think are another reasons to be excited about Ghostbusters 3. First off, it might bring back High-C Ecto Cooler.
Yes.
If it brings back High-C Ecto Cooler, it will have all been worth it. I think we can agree on that.
Yep.
Also, I'm curious to see if they have a Janine in this movie. And if it's played by a guy,
Yeah.
I think that would maybe be a good flip.
twist.
And they could bring Paul Rubens in to do it because Paul Rubens was originally supposed to play the role of Gozer in Ghostbusters.
Oh.
So I think that would be interesting, like a little subtle nod to the original one. And we don't see enough Paul Rubens these days anyway. So.
Well, for a reason.
Or Rick Moranis would be
Yeah,
good too.
Rick
Oh,
Moranis.
Yeah, bring him out.
absolutely.
Bring him back.
He needs to come back
He
in general.
definitely needs
Yeah.
to come back.
The world needs Rick Moranis.
Wow, well, those 2 points really just helped change my opinion. There, 'cause that got me excited. Do you have anything else
that's
that's
not about
going?
the cast, though.
Yeah, it's not about that.
the
Nothing to do with the cast. Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yes, that is unconfirmed.
So I gotta go with Spencer is where I'm going, just because I feel like your argument on Melissa McCarthy was just too spot on, and anyone who could pull off Medea and Whiteface and actually have me go, that's sort of fair. I gotta give it to Spencer for having the balls
new
to even
Kevin
just say
James.
that out loud. So Spencer gets the point. But you were close there, but it wasn't that to do with that.
Slaughter today. Where's
I do
with
wanna
this?
see
And I
Ecto-
tried.
They better bring back Ecto Cooler.
Yes, they better.
And just one quick thing about Eddie Murphy. And I think we made this mistake on Screen Junkies too before. He was never actually set to be in the movie. They wrote it with him in mind, but he was never actually he didn't back out of doing the movie.
Right.
But
I
isn't
heard
it
he
a better
couldn't do it because
story?
Beverly Hills Cop was shooting, so he couldn't do it.
I'm finding
That's everything
the
I read.
information that I have is that
Internet is
that he was
conflicting reports.
It's always conflicting reports.
But what's cool is he's
Ivan
going to be
Reitman
on the
says
40th
that
anniversary of Saturday Night Live. Did we all hear
Yeah.
that?
Oh,
He's finally
cool.
coming back
Yep.
to appear.
That's
Ivan
good.
Reitman says he never came up in the casting process.
He's just
Oh,
probably
man.
saving face to be nice to Ernie
I
Hudson.
wanted to believe, Dan.
No,
ruin your fun camp.
Pressure over there. Hashtag dream.
You're
crusher.
ready to believe.
But I think that they did reduce the part of Winston after Eddie Murphy.
They did.
I can
was not
imagine.
in the
He's
movie
confirmed
because-
that, yeah.
But it's not like he was in it and backed out.
All right, round 4. We were just talking reboots, right? Ghostbusters, they're rebooting. It's not Ghostbusters 3, which you also called it, technically.
Yeah.
Are they going to call it Lady Ghostbusters? Are they just going to call it interesting subject later? We'll figure that out. But this brings up a question. Speaking of reboots, Damien Betham on Twitter asked us, what's the best reboot of all time? Which is a tough one. There's a lot. There have been some good ones. We're going to start with Spencer this time.
There've been a lot of reboots, you're right. And my favorite is The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was the James Franco vehicle and not the Tim Burton one. And I think that we should judge a reboot on whether it brings something new to the franchise, not whether it was like a faithful remake of the original. And this was a complete reimagining and a really interesting one of some good and legendary, but also fairly campy movies, which were the original Planet of the Apes series. So this is something where they took it and completely flipped the concept on its head. So you're actually cheering for apes to murder all of humanity. That's a tough thing for a movie to do. On top of that, they have the only human you sympathize with is James Franco. And that's the only time that sentence has been said in the English language. They got you to sympathize with murdering...
127 hours. He was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, he had his moment, yeah. Murdering apes and James Franco is a tough thing to pull off, and it's just night and day with the original. It's a really fresh take on the franchise. That's my favorite reboot.
For the record, I think we can all get on board with seeing something murder all of humanity on a movie. I mean, that's part of the fun of movies is you can see
You're
that.
just dark.
No, I'm saying.
Hold on. Alicia, what's your point?
All right. I am going with the Dark Knight trilogy being the best reboot of all time because Christopher Nolan.
It's got to be Batman Begins.
Yeah, Batman Begins,
okay.
yeah. Because Christopher Nolan had such a tough job on his hands. Batman and Robin was the previous film, came out in 1997, made $42 million opening weekend, had a production budget of $125 million. So it wasn't a commercial success at all, and it was just ridiculous. I'm sure we can all agree that it just made the Batman character seem silly. Christopher Nolan took it in a completely different direction, grounding him in reality, and he made me believe that someone would dress up as a bat and fight crime. And that made sense. And at the end of Batman Begins, when you see the Joker card, and then they say that, oh, now the villains are going to dress up as well, that made complete sense. And for someone who's not a comic book fan, for me to totally buy into that world is something special. And he not only reinvented the character of Batman, but he also reinvented the superhero genre from then on. Now we see a lot of movies striving for that dark tone, and I think he did such a great thing for superhero movies. And not only were they a critical success, but also a commercial success as well, the 3 films.
Wow, Roger, you got a tough one here. That's 2 really good fights, I'll be honest. Where do you stand?
You're talking about reinventing a genre. I'm going with the 2004 reboot of Dawn of the Dead. This is a movie that really kind of changed the face of zombies for us. We have all these crazy zombie movies in the 70s and 80s where it's basically just, total gore fest with no like real story or anything like that, no human drama or anything. It's just splatter. And then the 90s, after Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, it's kind of like a dead zone of zombie movies. There really was not a lot of zombie stuff going on. But then cut to the early 2000s, and you have 28 Days Later and Dawn of the Dead back to back, and all of a sudden everyone is crazy about zombies again, and it's because of that. We get stuff like The Walking Dead because of these movies, and it also introduced so many fun new concepts. My favorite thing in it introduced the best game ever, which is Celebrity Zombie Headshot. In the movie, they have snipers on the roof they're picking out zombies that look like celebrities, and they tell their sniper guy, all right, find the one that looks like Jay Leno. We get a close-up of a zombie. It looks like Jay Leno. His head just splatters. Then you get another one that looks like Burt Reynolds and Rosie O'Donnell. It's hilarious. So it's a fun movie, and it really got everyone back into zombies.
All right, let's fight, guys.
I'm a red-blooded American. I love zombies, and I love Batman. But both of those things were already really cool before either of those movies came along. You said 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later did come out like Dan Cam this, but it came out a few years
about
before.
2 years.
Yeah, about 2 years. So that had already made zombies cool in my book.
It was more of an independent film.
28 Days Later did come out before?
28 Days Later came out in 2002, which is 2 years before Dawn of the Dead.
So that's already like, oh wow, zombies can be cool again.
But to be clear, you just said there hadn't been, so you're wrong.
No.
That's a pretty iconic
he said
zombie
back to
movie.
back. He said back to back. 2 years.
They're pretty back to back. Yeah.
That's like
28 Days Later 28 Days Later came out in the UK. It was an independent film. It didn't have a big budget, and it didn't make a ton of money. It made like I think it came like to 40, 60, 80 mil, something like that total.
But to people who cared about zombies, it proved that they were cool.
Reinvigorated
Dawn of the Dead
zombies.
was the first one that really got audiences way back into it, because that one made like over $100 million and everything, and got people excited. It had actual big star power in it, which is very unusual for a zombie movie too. You got like Ving Rhames in there and everything.
Oh, so. Big star power. You got Ving Rhames. Come on. Marcellus
Did you have something, Dan?
28 Days Later had an $8 million production budget. Made $45 million here. Made
very
$37 million, and it made $85 million worldwide.
Yeah.
So
Really successful.
How much did Dawn of the Dead make?
I'm looking that up right now.
And the production
So
budget
Spencer,
as well.
sorry,
Okay,
continue.
but then now onto the tough one, which is Batman.
Yeah, hard one to argue.
It's tough to argue against Batman Begins. It's my favorite Batman movie.
Yeah.
But Batman had already been grittily rebooted in the comics with like Dark Knight Returns and stuff like that. So you have that to draw from. Planet of the Apes, aside from an amazing twist ending, was campy as hell. It was just guys in these bad ape makeup riding around on horseback screaming Charlton Heston of "Let my people go." It was dumb. And the new Planet of the Apes movies are cool, and they're emotional, and they're everything that the originals weren't. You can look at the original Batmans, you can look at the Batman comics, and like, oh yeah,
I don't
he
look
was
at the
awesome.
Batman comics,
No
and
one's-
it got me really into the superhero genre.
But even
least
the first
that's
Batman
successful.
trilogy was very cool.
Look, at least people are still talking about Batman. No one really cares about Planet of the Apes anymore. I'm
What?
sorry. The last
talking
movie,
about?
the last movie did not do that great. It just was not very
really
good.
cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I can see the lie.
true.
The
Is
that-
lies.
yeah.
I
The
Yeah, I
lies
don't know. I
behind
feel
your
like
eyes.
it's a lot of
like a-
people's favorite,
Dawn
including
of
the
the Planet
Schmoes.
of the
Yeah,
Apes,
I did
favorite
like
Film
Dawn
of the
of-
year. It made a
like
lot of
Dawn.
money. I don't
One of
know.
the top 10
Where are
movies
these
of the
facts
summer.
Roger keeps throwing
Dawn of the
out?
Planet of the Apes
No.
made $708 million worldwide.
I remember
$1 billion here.
people did not like that movie. I'm sorry. No.
I think that's not true.
That's not true.
I mean,
Tell us in the comments below. Did you like Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Let's
And
Right,
Dawn
yeah.
of the
Let's
Planet of
hear
the Apes
no,
is
we're talking about
awesome.
Dawn of the
I'm sorry,
Planet.
Dawn. Yes.
Yeah,
The names
awesome.
should be reversed.
It should be switched.
super
I always
confusing.
I'm
get
talking
confused
about
with
the
that.
sequel,
Dawn
not the
of the
original.
Planet of the Apes
Yeah,
should have
like
been the
both of
first
them.
movie, and
Dawn of the-
Rise should have been the second
Dawn of the
movie.
Planet of the Apes is 90% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so I think some
critical
people, I think
acclaim.
Some
some
people
critics-
liked it.
Fine.
But yeah,
Anyway,
Planet of the
to
Apes. Yeah, go ahead.
So to his credit, he makes an interesting point.
Yes,
Of,
and I think-
Batman has been cool.
I think both Rise and Batman Begins did the same thing for each films, like just wiped away the previous stench of the last few films and brought something new. But the Batman trilogy will be classic forever. It'll live on forever. I don't know if Rise and Dawn, they're great movies, but I don't know if they'll be classics that we'll look back to.
Look, Dawn of the Dead.
You can't
also,
say trilogy though. You can only go off Begins. That's the reboot.
Yeah, you have
That's
to go
the reboot
against
we're talking
Begins.
about.
Begins was pretty good. It was a good start.
great.
It was a good start.
It set up the tone.
We were excited,
Rose,
but you know,
Rose,
right? It got better. Yeah.
Sketchy.
But I'd
um,
say-
The second movie is
I'd say
Nuke
Dawn
in
is
a
better
plane.
than Rise. Dawn is better than Rise.
yes.
Wait,
Go with that
Rise of
argument.
Batman or Rise
Rise
of...
of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Batman of the
This is really
Arkham
getting
Knight.
confusing.
These
without
franchises all have Dawn and Rise
I know.
somewhere in their name.
Dawn of the Dead.
without Dawn of the Dead, you
What happened to
wouldn't
counting?
have
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I like the counting better.
Without Dawn of the Dead, you might not even have Guardians of the Galaxy because
What?
James Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead screenplay. He was the one who did that. Then he got to do Slither, and his career started taking
We're
off.
talking about the
direct
movie.
it.
We're
Yeah.
talking about the movies. And you've already lost just because your facts are all over the place. I'll be honest.
All right, Dawn of the Dead introduced a
If you want to
wider
help chime
audience.
in on these two, you're welcome.
Richard Cheese got introduced to a wider audience thanks to Dawn of the Dead.
But so-
I
so
love
good.
Richard Cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I'm challenged.
And it did inspire my actual zombie survival plan, which is to take a boat to Catalina, which didn't really work out for them. We don't know.
No.
But it's a great movie. I love both of them. Planet of the Apes just had such a high hurdle to jump, and I think it did it.
I think Batman had a huger hurdle to jump because of the last few films were so bad that people lost faith in Batman as a character on the screen.
Yeah, but people still
Until
loved
Nolan.
Batman. They were going to see a Batman movie no matter what.
Had it-
They were at
had
least
there
out of
been
curiosity.
Had Iron Man come out the same year? Or what, had there been
2008.
X-Men came out, right? There had been serious superhero films since
Before
Batman and Robin.
Begins, or
Yes.
Batman and Robin?
Before Batman Begins. X-Men came out, right? Spider-Man came out.
Spider-Man.
Those were a little
Yeah.
bit
They
more.
were, but they weren't in the
they were
same
bridging the gap.
vein
This
as
is a tough
Batman
one, and I'm
Begins.
going off the arguments because Batman Begins
came
is
out
one of my
before
favorite films.
Iron Man.
I actually like Batman Begins better than the other two, even
too.
Dark Knight. I think Heath Ledger is why Dark Knight was so great.
Yes.
But anyway, that's my
Very good.
opinions aside. I got to go with Spencer in this argument because he makes a really strong point that I didn't think about, which is they had nothing to cling from but these really ridiculous movies that
Dr.
are great.
Zayas, Dr.
They're great,
Zayas.
but they get sillier and sillier, and they look so silly, and there's so much against it. And they managed to make now 2 films in a row that I think, against Roger's opinion of it not being good, but really strong
Just
emotional
did not like the
films
sequel.
that have truly rebooted that thing where I feel like, the comics.
How hard
Dark
is it to
Knight-
make Batman cool?
Yeah,
Not
and
that
there
hard.
were comics that people he adapted the comics. Like he really did.
How hard
adapt
is
the
it to make
comics.
Planet of the
But to get
Apes
new
better
people
after
in-
that Marky Mark disaster?
No disrespect. Exactly, it's coming off of that too. So
Yeah.
no disrespect to Nolan. He did a fantastic job and did reinvent superhero, and it's classic. But for argument's sake, I'm going even against my own and saying Spencer won that. So it's good work. That was tough.
For the record, I was playing devil's advocate there because I do think Batman, but also my original choice was The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
We did make you change the thing. I was like,
Yeah.
no one knows the
Wait, it's a
original
remake?
Thing.
Why did you guys make
Yeah,
me
it's
change
a
it?
remake.
The Thing from another, yeah.
We just thought it was. Has anyone seen the reboot?
The original Thing.
not-
No,
John
not the original.
Carpenter's-
John Carpenter's 80s Thing is just an amazing movie.
I know, but it is.
yeah, I don't want
We'll
to drag
get
it
into
out,
that.
but I'm just saying I was playing.
Roger, I'm fact checking that answer and saying I think that's a very good answer.
Thank you. If you actually search for best reboots, best remakes, the thing is like the first thing that ever
so
even
that's
comes
how you
up.
find your answer. You just Google them.
What does Google say?
They're too obscure. What was with the problem?
Too obscure.
Against
oh my
these
God.
two, I was like, come on, that was ridiculous.
You made a horror
Round
movie and
5.
you're calling that obscure?
Round
The fact
5.
that it's a reboot is obscure, not.
Yeah, it's
that-
not a
whatever.
reboot. I don't think it was a close enough. It was technically, but
It was a remake.
anyway. Round 5. Epic Disney news was announced.
Epic.
Emma Watson was cast as Belle. OMG, guys.
Wow.
Hermione is gonna now be Belle.
Hermione.
Hermione, sorry.
Hermione.
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 That's
Thank
from my
you, fact
fan
checker.
fiction, yeah.
In the live action Beauty and the Beast, this brings up a great question, which Doritos at Doritos supporter asks us on Twitter.
Sponsored?
Who should play the Beast?
What is going on this episode?
This is an interesting one. Who should be the Beast against Emma Watson? I imagine there would be CGI, or maybe you'll put him in a rubber suit. This is up for you to tell me. Alicia, you're starting. Who would you cast as Beast?
Well, someone that you don't have to do too much CGI to turn into a beast is The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Paging Nick Mundy.
Because he has the
Yeah, is
stature.
that Nick?
He feels like a beast. He also looks like he comes
Pull her
out.
face off. Oh, it's Nick.
He also looks like he's come straight from a Disney animated movie. The way he's built, the way he looks, he's got that proportion. He's got the killer smile.
Nick has such a boner right now.
The thing,
Is he not more of a Gaston vibe on the
yeah, Gaston. But the thing is, I think he could also play the prince really well because he has that charm. He is good looking. You would believe that a girl would fall for him, and you believe that a girl would fall for him as the beast as well as the prince. That's why I'm going with The Rock.
I do believe a girl would fall in love with him. That is a very true
Yes,
Roger.
I do already.
There's never been a prince who could bench press an SUV.
He's the beast. He's the beast. He's different.
No.
And then you don't have to do CGI, which you hate.
A lot of protein shakes in the Middle Ages.
Who are you picking, Roger?
I'm going with Tom Hiddleston. This is a guy who could clearly play a prince, no problem whatsoever. We're not seeing enough of Tom Hiddleston, that's for sure. Everyone loves the guy, but he's just not in enough big movies and all. And this is a role that it really focuses on, like a character with a strong duality. All right, we've got this guy who was a prince. We've got this total emotion because he gets turned into this beast, and if he doesn't find someone who loves him, he's going to have to remain a beast the entire time. And Tom Hiddleston, he can turn that evil switch on and that scary switch on just on a dime. And we saw him do it, like, you know, in the Avengers and stuff. When he's talking to Scarlett Johansson and all, and you know, he just suddenly just turns on her and kind of makes her cry. But she was leading him on and all that. But anyway, the point is he can actually play these two characters extremely well, and I'd like to see him take it on.
Spencer.
Okay, well, talk about no CGI. My answer is Mickey Rourke, the wrestler.
No CGI as the beast, but he
Is
can't
he a
be a
prince?
prince.
But I think that it's more
That's
important.
what you need the CGI
It's
for.
more important to stick the role of the Beast to make this movie believable, because this works for the majority of the time on this repulsive man with this sweet, soft inside, and that is Mickey Rourke. He's had, in real life, like one of the biggest rise, falls, rises again of anyone's career. He's gone broke, he's had drug problems, he's come back, his own face is messed up.
Which sounds perfect for a Disney movie, doesn't it?
I think that for the role of the Beast, that this really works, and you want to believe that this sweet guy would be repulsive, that Emma would not want to, you know, make
I don't
out
want to
with
see
him.
them together. That's weird. Emma
just
Watson
think-
and Mickey Rourke.
What I don't want to see, though,
No.
I bet you he'd be into it. Though.
Yeah,
into it.
he
Yeah, he
would.
really would.
He really would.
a couple responses to that. One, I don't want to see that together either. So you get a different guy when he transforms. He transforms into the
no,
Rock.
that's
He
not what this is
transforms
about.
into
Cop
Hold
out.
on.
This is
Cop out.
This is
What
who
you
can do both.
guys are proposing is two beautiful people with like a scar on their face. Like, oh, I'm not gonna make out Tom Hiddleston. He's got like a weird hairy eyebrow, like, or he's got a weird The Rock as like a cleft palate. Like, no, these people are gonna be good looking no
we're
matter
not,
what.
Tom Hiddleston or The Rock, if you put them in beast makeup, they're not going to be pretty. If that's up to the costuming
They're still
department.
gonna have
They're
the
not
inner
going to be
charm
scary. They're not
inside.
going to be scary.
Yes, they
you have to
can.
have
be.
Mickey
the
Rourke
charm.
is scary as F. And it's a story about what's really on the inside of a person, and Mickey Rourke fits that perfectly.
Look, I don't want to see.
I think he's scary on the inside too.
both of these men are
He
giant.
loves tiny dogs.
Both of these
scary.
men are giant beasts
To
who
eat
I
them,
do not
probably.
want to see with Emma. Tom, you could totally see doing it. They're closer age age range for one
How old
thing.
is Tom?
Tom is 32, 33, I
I think
want to
he's
say.
older than that.
No?
Yeah,
No,
I think
no,
he's older.
No, I've
But
researched
I think we all
this.
agree we'd much prefer him kiss Emma
Tom
Watson
Hiddleston
than
is
Mickey
33
Rourke.
Yeah.
years
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
okay.
Yeah.
He's
How old is
younger
Emma
than I
Watson?
thought.
22?
She's like 25, I think.
This is Hollywood. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
glad it's not creepy to ask that question anymore.
Yeah.
You guys are all
she's
hung-
24.
Okay.
You guys are all hung up on the kiss, which is one creepy moment, but the story is about a really ugly, disfigured person that is falling in love
No,
or being
it's a
put in the friend
Disney
It's
zone.
about a prince who's turned into an ugly, disfigured person and all that. And it's not about
Played
having
by
this...
either Hemsworth is the prince.
Why-
He turns into Mickey Rourke, and then he turns back into Hemsworth at the end. Who doesn't want to see that? He's a better actor than
I do
either
not
of
want to
those
see
two.
that.
I can just call it now. I feel like it's pretty clear. And I think you're crazy, Spencer.
I want a good movie, not a Disney
And I
movie.
think you're crazy because Roger
Disney
hit
film.
everything, I think, fairly the best. One, The Rock, you don't want the prince to bench press just UV, as he said.
No.
This is a very valid
You do.
point.
You want
And
a
you don't need
strong
CGI
prince.
for it. You shouldn't have CGI for the prince. Like, Tom Hiddleston is an actor. Like, he can act. Right? Like, I
They're
think
gonna put like a weird mark on
the
his eye.
duality
Like,
that
oh,
you
no.
said.
They're going to make him
Tom
a
Hiddleston's
beast.
a very
They're not going to
interesting
just
choice.
like, you know,
A
put-
great actor we don't see enough.
They're not gonna put-
Roger's on the board with the point.
Yay.
I would contend, Roger, though. You said there's never been a prince that could bench press an SUV. I would say Prince Adam from He-Man.
No. Prince Adam, it's only
Yeah.
He-Man who can do the bench
but
press.
he looks
Yeah.
the same. He's got the same.
Yeah.
That's
Are they
this is
artificial muscles?
This is a debate for another time, but
Okay.
I totally, the one thing about He-Man that has always driven me nuts is we never see him turn back into Adam. It's just like, he's like, all right, well, I guess my powers are worn off or something.
But you look at any Disney movie, the
pretty weird. His
prince is
muscles don't
always
go away.
great.
yeah.
Well, I don't know how to use these muscles.
Where'd I leave my tunic?
All right, round 6. So Roger still has a shot here. Now remember, the winner, the
wiener?
the two winners with the most points goes to the speed round in round 8. So be prepared. It's anybody's game still.
This is my round.
Round 6. And right now the score, just for everyone at home, we have 3 for Spencer. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 for Alicia and 1 for Roger.
Right.
I'm correct. Okay. At some point, we'll get a scoreboard going. Round 6. Since a lot of you are gearing up to watch the Super Bowl today, or you've saved us until after the Super Bowl,
I'll
either
be a
way,
Magic Mountain.
it's the best day to go to
best
theme
day.
parks today. Grant Tabard on Twitter asked us, what's the best sports movie of all time? We don't usually handle sports on here, but I think Super Bowl Sunday, it's fitting. What's the best sports movie? And we're going to start with you, Roger.
The best sports movie of all time is Rocky IV. There is no question about this, because this is a sports movie that actually gets people who are not sports fans to watch it. You see that trailer, you want to watch this movie. It doesn't matter whether you're into boxing or not. You want to see this happen.
Can you just remind, I know it, but for those at home, just walk me through
Yes.
Rocky IV.
Oh, I'm
Please
believe
do.
me, believe me. Yeah.
We open on the
Yes.
Russian tundra.
Right. So Rocky's best friend, Apollo Creed.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. Rocky's best friend, Apollo Creed, wants to get back into boxing. This giant Russian mammoth champion comes to America saying he wants to start fighting, so Apollo Creed sees this as like his golden opportunity. They have this exhibition match together, which is preceded by a performance by James Brown, no less, which is incredible in its own right, seeing Carl Weathers dancing with him in full American Uncle Sam gear. He gets in the ring, starts doing okay at first, and we're like, all right, no big deal. Then suddenly, Ivan Drago, the Russian, just unloads on him. Just the hardest punches we've seen in a boxing movie, let
is
alone
gonna take like
let
20
alone
minutes
most
at this
movies.
rate.
Let's fast
It's
forward.
fine.
He takes
It's
down-
fine. He kills Apollo Creed with one punch.
Very unexpected, yes.
Yes, and it's just like
star at the
out of
time
the
of
blue.
the franchise,
Right.
yes.
So Rocky.
7 montages later,
Yes.
Rocky wins.
Yes.
Okay.
Rocky sees this happen.
Revenge story.
Revenge. And he goes to Russia to fight not for money, but for revenge.
And to end the Cold War.
I'm going to cover.
And to end the Cold War.
Yes, I'm going to cover much more of this.
All
but
right,
let's
so we
get
got
someone
it.
else.
Spencer.
Rudy.
Rocky. Yeah, we've heard
Rudy
it
is the
before.
best moment of any sports movie of all time, is the climax of Rudy. But I just love this, that it's really, it's like about this 5'0" kid who, the bad guy isn't Ivan Drago. It's not some cartoon character pulled out of Sylvester Stallone's also a drug-addled mind, but it's about him against himself. It's about this kid that has no business playing football, much less at Notre Dame, and it's really more in tune with what sports are about, which is just never giving up and perseverance and overachieving beyond what you're capable of.
I've heard that story before. Oh, it was called Rocky.
Yeah, but this
I
was
remember
also
that.
Okay. Was Rocky a real guy? No, because Rudy
Yes, he
Rudiger
was.
was.
Rocky
was. He was. You're right. I'm sorry about that. Rocky Balboa.
Careful.
He was. But they're both like. Actually, Rudy isn't really. They take some liberties too. But I think that this is so cool how the bad guy in this movie is Rudy himself. It's just a kid who has no reason being there. But oh my God, when he gets to that climax and Jon Favreau's like, "You're the wild man now," and they lift him on their shoulders and carry him off, there's not more manly tears have been shed in that moment than in World War II or at any point in time. Like, it is the best climactic movie moment of all time, and it happens to be in a sports movie.
Well,
Alicia.
I'm going to say Field of Dreams is the best sports movie of all time because the best sports movies are not actually about sport themselves. They're about much more and things that you can relate to if you're not a sports lover like me. I don't care about baseball. I don't know anything about it at all, but I love Field of Dreams because it is about idealism. It's about the, your father-son relationship, which you can relate to even if you are a girl. The playing catch with your dad at the end, that kills me every single time. It's about, harkening back to a better time. And the idea of baseball for me growing up in Australia was always that it's the American dream. And that seems like such a lovely thing to do, a lovely pastime and a lovely experience that you can share with your family. And I never cry in movies, but Field of Dreams gets me every single time. So that's why I think it's the best sports movie ever, because it makes a non-sports lover really get into it.
If you build it.
Stop it. Stop it.
What do you guys think? All right, fight.
That gives me chills. That gives me chills.
Look, I'm just going to paint a picture for you here. All right, this is a beautiful
Rocky IV
picture.
is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's so over the top, but I love it.
Exactly. And you want to talk about something that
can't
brings
relate
tears?
to that.
Something that brings
we know how
tears
great
to
it
eyes.
is. I don't want you to read your list. I want you to. Why does Rocky beat these two? That's the battle.
I'm going through this. Look, I worked
Don't
hard
give
on
me a
this.
Nick Monday
I never
list.
brought in notes
Don't give me a
before.
Nick
I'm
Monday
not giving
list
you
of all the movies
I'm
great.
not giving you a
Nick's
list.
Come on.
Look, I worked hard on this.
Captain
I brought
America
in
list
notes
was one of the
before.
worst
I'm
things
taking
I've
this
ever
seriously
done.
just for
died
you.
laughing.
All right,
Well,
look.
say it.
So we have the best training montage in the history of film.
Oh, come on. It's crazy.
All right, I want you to fight these movies. I don't want you to tell. I know why
We
the
know
movie's
Rocky's
great.
good.
We all have agreed it's great. Why is it better than these two movies? You're reading me a
Because
list.
it has this training montage. We have Rocky.
There's like 8 training main top
You're like,
how many does it
you're
have,
basically
Dan?
saying don't talk about your movie against these
Why
movies.
is
Compare
it
it to
better
these.
than these? Compare it.
I'm telling you why it's better because it inspires
Doesn't Rudy have a
people.
montage? Doesn't Field of Dreams have a montage? When they're building a
Sure.
It's a sports movie, yeah.
Look, it inspires people. The soundtrack.
Gonna have a montage.
The soundtrack. Yes.
Even Rocky had a montage.
This inspired all future montages. Look,
Rocky
Not
had a
the best
montage.
thing in
okay,
the
I'm
sports movie.
talking against the movies here, against these other
Yes,
movies.
let's hear that.
Rocky's music alone inspires people. You've worked out to Rocky's music.
That's not Rocky IV.
Yeah, you actually
All the time.
Yes,
Go to your
Not
mic.
the best
Go to your
workout.
mic.
Rocky IV music. Look, you have Burning Heart and Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Hearts on Fire by John
gonna do
Cafferty.
it.
Living in America by James. I'm doing it. I don't care. I worked hard on this shit.
enough.
Look, if the trailer can even get you so excited, you see 2 gloves explode. But the most
Doesn't
important
get me
thing
excited.
about Rocky, the most important thing about Rocky is it ended the Cold War. Rocky IV ended the Cold War. Gorbachev actually attended the fight in the movie, and we see
Actually,
That was not really him.
not really him. No, it's a fake. But I'm saying in
Saddam
the
Hussein
story.
was not in Hot Shots Part
Right,
2.
yeah.
Sorry,
Great movie. But no, he ends the Cold War and he turns a hostile crowd completely for him, and
Okay,
he basically
Dan.
makes everyone root for America and him, and it makes you feel like you can do anything. Rocky climbs a
Okay, I
mountain.
gotta get through the other people's thoughts. And Dan, quickly. Yes.
Roger, Eye of the Tiger is not from Rocky 4, it's from Rocky 3.
No, it's in.
Sick burn,
It's on the
man.
soundtrack.
That's
It's
what
on the
that Dan Cam's
soundtrack.
all about.
It's on the soundtrack.
All
I
right.
was talking about
He's
the
reading his
soundtrack.
lists, which thank you for preparing. But why are your films better than the other two?
Yeah, to compare our two, we both like them for the same reasons, is that they're about something more than the
heart.
sport. They're about the heart. They're about the relationships and the universal struggle that anyone can relate to. Why I don't like Field of Dreams is it's about baseball. And baseball is the most boring sport. I actually do like sports, except for baseball, which is more of a human aquarium where you just watch stats go up and down. And I just can't get by. It's an inherently not cinematic sport.
I disagree.
You're like seeing this through the rose-colored glasses of someone that didn't grow up in America and have to sit through 3 to 4 hours of baseball games.
So I've been to baseball games since I've been here, and I love it because it's so American. Baseball. It's such a great American pastime, and it stood for the 60s idealism in an 80s world. I love that.
Football and Rudy, by extension, manages to mix the heart and the drive and the intensity with something that's like
people in the world.
There's some actual believable football scenes in that movie, more or less.
If it was an Australian football movie, maybe.
It's a better sports movie than Field of Dreams, which is really just a drama.
Well, that's it. But it's about more than just sport, and that's why I love it.
So is Rudy.
So is Rocky. Rocky is more.
And he's definitely more than boxing.
Exactly. It is far beyond it. And look, guys, if I can change,
you can change.
And you can change. Everybody can change.
Well, so I have a struggle of you both. Yours is. I'm not disputing your film. It's a great film.
That's the
but
question.
Rocky 1 is as well. Like, I mean, there's several of them. But the only point is, you both have these really emotional, strong. They're not just all about the sports.
What you relate to, and I relate to the family aspect.
And mine is based on a real character, and yours is a weird ghost fantasy.
But to make that work. Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah,
that you believe it.
That is impressive that they made it work.
That it really gets to you, even though it is ridiculous on paper.
But it's not really a sports movie. I guess that gets into that argument that we don't want to have.
It's a genre of a sports movie. Come on.
Dan, is Field of Dreams a sports movie?
Yeah.
Alicia wins! You got me in your last point. I was like, that's what I needed. I needed one more little piece of argument.
All right.
Also, Roger, you're right. You're right about Eye of the Tiger. It is also in Rocky 4. So.
Thank you.
Correction retracted.
Dan Cam himself.
Correction retracted.
Well, I wouldn't expect much from the coward Cam. Not defending his title 2 weeks in a row here.
Woo, yeah.
That's how we build
hashtag coward Cam.
We're building up. That's not it.
No.
He would be here if he
hashtag coward Cam.
He did not. That was the producer's calls. We decided to have him sit. So we can build up who. If you win today, you can take.
I can't
but
now.
You got to win, Roger.
I can't.
Round 7.
Yeah, if I may say,
Yes.
unless Roger takes devil's advocate and wins on this round, he's mathematically eliminated from going
High stakes.
to the speed round.
High stakes.
Very good point. Would you like to take devil's advocate?
Might as well. Why not?
This is an important one.
lose.
This is a big one. This is probably our
Yep.
title bout. You might have been waiting this whole show just for this one. We decide that after our show, so we don't know yet what's on our thumbnail. But this question is tied into our honest trailer for this week, which happens to star Chris Pratt. That's your tease.
You could say it's awesome.
Ooh, oh, well, thanks, Spencer. I guess he's only been in like 2 movies, so it's not that hard to figure out. Anyway, Chris Pratt, now the man in charge of Hollywood, it seemingly. Disney wants him to be the next Indiana Jones. I want each of your thoughts on this casting of Chris Pratt. Well, actually, no. We're readjusting this question, which I think is coming on screen. So Alex Drake on Twitter asked, do we want an Indiana Jones reboot? Everyone doesn't want a reboot.
Yes, I do. I do now. I am so
Great,
excited.
let's do it.
I cannot wait for the
Okay.
next
All right,
Indiana
fine.
Jones.
We were going to say, do we want it with Chris Pratt? I think that we'll let both things in. Do we want an Indiana Jones reboot?
Yes.
And do we like Chris Pratt? So we're starting with you, Spencer.
So yeah, the question I prepared for was more Chris Pratt based, but
Devil's
I'll
advocate.
go. I don't care. I can argue for why we should not want an Indiana Jones reboot, and that's basically we need to let things die. We don't need to dig up the corpse of Indiana Jones just because Chris Pratt is a popular actor and Disney has the rights. There's no reason for another Indiana Jones movie to exist beyond the fact that he's a hot commodity right now, and that they could.
Hot property.
That we have already driven this franchise into the ground to such a shameful place that we should just let it die. And that's really the
Alicia,
start
thoughts?
and
Do we
end
want a
of my
reboot?
No, we do not want a reboot because I don't want to ruin the 3 movies any
The 3
further than
Indiana
it has.
Jones movies.
I'm refusing
The
to acknowledge
3
the 4th
Indiana
movie
Jones
because
movies.
it was so bad. But the 3 was such a part of my childhood and it's always special. And I rewatched them not very long ago and I still love these movies. So it doesn't need to be rebooted. There's nothing that needs to be fixed about the movies. If you want to use the name for marketing, then do a spin-off or do something completely different with it, but don't do a reboot. However,
So like James Bond, you're saying?
yeah, like James Bond is technically a
Can we consider
reboot.
those reboots?
I don't know.
No, right?
Different stories or episodes.
They've
maybe.
always
really.
switched Bonds. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
doing that forever. So.
I think that the Daniel Craig ones they kind of marketed
they were
themselves as a
new.
reboot because they rebooted the character, but generally, no, it's just somebody else taking
Right.
somebody
But
else.
just do a
takes the
spin-off. But if you have to do Indiana Jones, and this is the world that we live in, that Hollywood is just going to keep remaking things because it's easy to market to places like China and Russia who already know the name, then you should go with someone like Chris Pratt because he has the charm. He's pretty much Harrison Ford already. Guardians of the Galaxy, he played Han Solo. And when I spoke to him for Guardians of the Galaxy, I said, who's your favorite character, Han Solo or Indiana Jones? Straight away, he said, Indiana Jones. And because he has that passion for it, then if we have to do it, I think he's the right man for the job. He's got the charm and the good looks, and I'd like to see him in a fedora.
I
Roger,
don't. Although,
Roger.
yeah, go ahead.
Guys, I am so excited for Indiana Jones.
To be rebooted.
I cannot wait for them to reboot this
So
movie.
be clear, Roger is playing devil's advocate because he does not believe this, and if he wins, he gets double points.
We were talking about movies that make us cry. Just thinking about a reboot, it's bringing tears to my eyes right
why?
now.
The
from
whip is
excitement.
back. The whip
All
and
right,
the hat.
So look, it's a lot of fun to say Indiana Jones ended with The Last Crusade, but it didn't. It didn't. They made the Crystal Skull, and that left a real bad taste in our mouth. And they made it many years later. So the current younger generation, that's a lot of their impressions of Indiana Jones. A lot of them have not seen the earlier ones, so they think they're just these crappy movies. If you see Crystal Skull, you're not going to care to go watch the other ones if that's like your introduction to Indiana Jones. So that scares me.
But no one was.
So,
Well, okay,
hey,
go ahead.
I'm talking about this awesome movie that's going to
He's
happen.
got a point. Some people base Star Wars on the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think there's nothing wrong. They have nowhere to go but up from Crystal Skull. And, Chris Pratt, he is the best of the people out there right now for the Indiana Jones role. I mean, he has the looks for it. He's got the charisma. He's got the fan base and everything, just like Harrison Ford did when he was going Indiana Jones. So you put him in this movie, you do a good job, you totally reboot it and just kind of set these new origins for Indy, have him go on a brand new adventure, and you can get kids and everyone interested in Indiana Jones again. Then they will go back and watch the original trilogy, which is absolutely timeless. It's
I
great.
didn't say go back.
Wow, guys, Roger's stepping it up. I'm impressed.
That's great on your.
All right, so guys, fighting Roger. Why is he wrong?
Yeah, I just think we're about to get. I'm not sick of Chris Pratt right now. I love him to death. He's amazing. We're about to get really sick of Chris Pratt. He's about to be in every single movie that comes out in the next 2 or 3 years. You can see what he's got coming up, but I know there's Guardians 2. There's going to be Jurassic World. There's going to be something. What was it called? I wrote down is Cowboy Ninja Viking. He's going to be in
Sounds cool.
Lego movie,
that
Lego
sounds
Movie
good.
2, and he's going to be Indiana Jones.
All right, Lego
Enough.
Movie.
Let someone else have a role.
Voices are fine. That's not going to make you feel oversaturated with them. We have not
Parks and Rec.
Look, after Indiana Jones comes out, maybe we'll be at the point of overpraturation. But right now, we're not at that point.
He's
And
got,
Alicia, you like Chris Pratt, but you don't
I
want
like
to reboot.
Chris Pratt,
so,
but I don't want to reboot.
Why don't you want to reboot it? Why is
Because
Roger wrong?
the 3 films are great. They should re-release the 3 films and put them on. They're timeless. They were made to feel like a throwback to the 30s serials, and they have that great nostalgic feel already. They don't need to do it again.
Yeah, but
and what would
again-
you want from the reboot? Would you want the same 3?
No, I
forget
just-
the fourth. Same 3
No, I
movies
just
again.
said
is he going to be
reboot.
fighting Nazis
Because
in the
if it's,
1930s?
No, I just said we
it's
want
gotta be something
we want a
completely
reboot,
different.
something completely different.
don't call
He
it
doesn't
Indiana
have to-
Jones.
He doesn't have to be
Call him
maybe-
Montana Steve.
Look, how about this?
Something else.
Yeah, give me
maybe
your pitch.
maybe he's searching for the lost city of Atlantis. That would be a cool thing. With this, it's this big
That's
mystical
not
thing. You don't have to
Indiana
involve.
Jones.
Why not?
No, they need searches
not?
for weird, forgotten
Why
stuff.
not?
You can go
I'm
on
board
total
with that.
adventures. You don't have to have Nazis involved or anything
What
like that.
Nazis?
Exactly. You don't
I
have
gotta say, Roger, you pulled it out there. I mean, there was a whole TV show, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which proved you can do fun installments of the show. There are books, there are games. It's an iconic character.
I just don't want to be explaining
And
to my
to
children
kill-
when they say Indiana Jones. Oh, do you mean Chris Pratt or
Yeah.
or Harrison Ford? I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
have
which
that
version?
conversation.
And I don't want to explain to my children, oh, do you mean Crystal Skull? No.
Why
No.
can't they do a new episode like they do with Star Wars Episode 7, rather than redoing the
Yeah,
3
there you go.
again?
Well, you would. It would be Shia LaBeouf. Is that what you guys want?
No, that
No.
was he adopted a new kid.
That was a
But
dodge
if they
bullet.
were to go on that track, that's where it would go. And then
Can you just have him in for a second
Chris
and then
Pratt,
go?
I think is
He's
I'm
too
so glad
goofy
it's
for
not
Indiana
Shia
Jones.
LaBeouf.
It should be Bradley Cooper, but that was the argument I prepped for, and we're having this one.
No,
It's a
wow.
given that we shouldn't redo Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I can't
we
believe we have to
shouldn't.
argue that.
Bradley
Yeah,
Cooper
come on.
does not have that same charisma as Chris Pratt. He does not have the face for Indiana Jones, and a lot of people are not on board with Bradley now after the Sniper movie. So
I'm fine
Oh,
with
no,
that.
he got an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
I know that.
say
I'm just,
his performance
I'm
is
just
the best
saying,
thing.
You
Chris
were up
Pratt.
against the wall, Roger, and
Yeah,
you pulled
he
it
did.
off.
You like a-
you
like
won
a-
it.
Yeah, you
you did
did.
it. I'm
Nicely
giving you the
done.
2
Don't
points.
agree, but you did.
I didn't think you'd do it. You pulled the devil's advocate. That gives him 2 points.
It's the first time
It's a
anyone's
three-way tie.
Ever won a devil's advocate?
Yeah.
You get
All right.
2 points. Wow. So that just made you and Alicia tied.
Woo!
Spencer, all right?
That means
I've
we
got
all
a-
team
I've got
up
a
on
three-way
Spencer.
tie.
Oh, it's a,
Yeah.
sorry. It's a
Right.
3-way tie. Okay. So,
How's this
how
gonna
do we
work?
figure this out? Crap. Well, I have a couple tiebreakers here. Let's do it. All right, speed rounds.
How does this work?
Are they either or? Like, what are we
I
gonna
think
do?
we're gonna pick the two. I have 2 tiebreakers here.
All right.
You know, whoever gets it first moves on to the last round, and then the next 2, whoever gets that moves on that with them. Yes.
Whoa.
That's how we're gonna do it. The rules
Okay.
are changed as we go. That's how movie fights work.
Wait.
So this
explain
is
this again.
3-person
Roger's never
speed
done
round.
the speed round.
This is a 3-person speed round, which we've never done here on Movie Fights.
Yeah.
We are gonna ask you a question. You're gonna have to answer quickly. If you all say the same thing, it's whoever answered first.
Right.
If you don't, and you said something else, you can quickly do it, but we have to do it quickly because I don't want to sit here for 3 minutes doing a speed round. We have to do it fast. Everyone understand the rules.
Yes.
Speed round. Michael Hill on at the Doctor 2012 asks, best movie voice, Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones?
James
Morgan
Earl
Freeman.
Jones.
I heard
God.
James Earl Jones, and then Morgan Freeman. You're out, Spencer. Why
Earl
James Earl
Jones.
Jones, and then you're answering why Morgan Freeman.
Darth Vader. I mean, how much more iconic can you get than
Iconic.
Darth Vader's voice? It's incredible. It's something that people talk about. You never see his face the entire movie. It is all James Earl Jones because of that.
Alicia, Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman has one of the most iconic voices ever in movie history. He can do God. He's red. He makes you believe in hope. I want him to do my voicemail because he has such a great voice. He has such a commanding presence. You hear it and you feel comforted. And he's narrated many films because he has such
I
a
want
great
all those
voice.
things too, but I
so
gotta say
overexposed.
Darth Vader because
Yeah.
Darth
The
Vader
God.
wins.
Come on, God.
That was close. Roger's in the finals. Wow! From behind, so he gets an extra point.
So did these points count
Yes.
toward his final total?
Yes.
Okay.
Roger just
Really?
gets a point, and now we have one more speed round to see
do
who
it.
is going to challenge Roger.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just between you two.
Oh,
Roger,
okay.
you're
All right.
safe.
Bring it.
Gotcha.
Are we ready? Michael Wheeler at Michael Wheeler at Mr. Wheeler on Twitter asks, best Michael Mann directed film
Heat.
that isn't Heat.
Fuck!
Collateral.
You have to wait till the answer. I think he can still say it, right?
He can say it. He just
out,
jumped. I mean,
That wasn't
Alicia's
clear.
answer counts. You just to still answer.
What did you got quickly? Sorry, what did
Oh,
you
it's
say?
Collateral.
You said collateral?
I would have said collateral. That was my second answer. Yeah, you got it.
Alicia's in!
Nicely done.
Went from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, bummer.
Nice.
That's how it works.
Speed
here
run's
now.
my Achilles heel.
We were so close.
Yeah.
So now are
Sorry,
we going
man.
through like a full speed round of like
Yes.
5 questions
So now we have
or whatever?
5 quick speed
All
round
right.
questions.
So this is
Wow.
just best
Oh,
of
God.
5.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best of 5. We have 5. There will be a
They're
winner.
tied. Best of 5.
You guys are tied. What is the tie? So we understand 3. It's 5, right? Or 1?
Well, they both what? So it's 4 to 4
4 to 4 is where we're going in on this.
5. Yep.
Man.
You'll help me keep scoring this?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Here we go. Round, speed round. Do we all understand this works? You just did one.
Same thing.
Same way.
Okay.
Once again, we've asked this before, but a movie is playing on cable. Which one should we watch? Beverly Hills Cop 2 or Ghostbusters 2?
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters
2.
2. Oh.
Roger gets the point. Ready? Number 2.
I was trying to look, but no.
Hollywood's best Tom.
Tom Hanks.
Tom
Bergeron.
Tom Hardy.
Why?
Ooh. Tom Hanks is such an incredible actor. He makes you believe that life is more than just a box of chocolates. He can carry Castaway just by himself with a volleyball. He makes you feel something. He's so famous, but you still believe him in every single role.
Roger.
Tom Hardy has not seen his best days behind him like Tom Hanks has. Tom Hardy is
Captain Phillips.
Tom Hardy is still moving forward. I mean, a lot of people didn't care for Dark Knight Rises, but Bane, everyone loves Bane. He's a fun character. He just did the movie, the driving one. I'm totally blanking on the name right now.
Well, that's not helping you. Tom Hanks!
Damn.
All right, we're tied again, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Number
Tom
3.
Hanks was right.
That's tough. Yeah. Number 3. Which movie star would be more fun to share an Uber with? Meg Ryan or Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon.
Meg Ryan.
Why?
Okay.
Okay, Reese Witherspoon has a dark side to her. She may come across as very, lovely, but she's actually got some fun to her. We see that in Wild. Plus, she is quite sweet. I don't know. I'm just keep going like this.
Meg Ryan is actually sweet. She was America's sweetheart, whereas Reese Witherspoon was actually pulled over by police, and she's just unleashing, she gets pulled off by the cops. She gets pulled off by the cops, and you're left there. You're just stranded, and you're talking about getting a ride with an Uber.
That's why she's fun.
That's why she's fun.
Yeah, Reese Witherspoon.
She's more fun.
So great, I don't get a ride.
She wasn't pulled over. Her husband was.
Yeah.
She
But then she went crazy.
She
by her
still
man.
went crazy.
Wow.
I
She
love
did
that.
not.
So that would definitely
her man stood
You just
behind.
gave a
while
point
she
to
got-
her. All right.
my
One.
God.
Alicia's winning by 1.
Oh, no.
Wait. So who gets that? Who wins that?
Alicia gets the point. Alicia gets the
I made
point.
a week up. That's fun.
What's the best Christmas movie that's okay to watch during the rest of the year?
Elf.
Christmas Vacation.
The answer was Die Hard.
Sorry, the answer is always Die Hard.
So, Elf and Christmas Vacation. Why Elf?
Elf is so much fun. Every time I watch it, it makes me laugh, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's around Christmas. It's just Will Ferrell gives such a good performance. I think it's one of the best comedies ever, not just Christmas movies.
Christmas Vacation is the iconic Christmas movie, and it doesn't really matter that it is just Christmas. You have Chevy Chase, you have the whole Griswold clan, you have their neighbors. Chevy Chase coming out looking like a chainsaw-wielding maniac. I mean, this is a movie that has all the best things about the vacation films all wrapped into one thing, and I can watch it anytime, and it does air during the regular year all the time.
Oh, that's tough, actually. I need some help on this one,
Yep.
guys.
Thanks, Elf.
Well, it would decide the winner if I went one way or the other, and I think I should recuse myself because
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
on you,
pick
Andy.
my opponent for the title bout. So I'm going
It's
to
on
recuse
you, man.
myself.
I'm not taking
Spencer,
this one.
any thoughts?
Elf is so quotable.
They are both quotable.
Yeah,
Very
both
Well, it's my
fantastic.
favorite.
Yeah.
I know it should be Die Hard, but
It was supposed to be
Yeah,
Die
that
Hard.
Die Hard's the answer.
Yeah.
It was going to say who
Totally.
said Die Hard first was going to win.
I know that's why I didn't go Die Hard.
This is the fourth
Sort of made
question,
the same
right?
argument.
This is the fourth question?
Yes.
Okay.
And if Alicia wins it, she wins the game. And I'm gonna go off of what you said. You said it plays more, but I feel like I see them both
Elf,
playing
I
more.
say all the time.
It does.
And I feel like Christmas is in the title of your movie, and she
Modern
made a
or
point
retro?
of Elf is not really about
It's not about Christmas.
It's about it.
Yes, it is. It's
coming
about.
of age.
It was Die Hard, guys. It was a tough one. It was Die Hard.
How do I forget that?
I would've
Wow,
guessed that.
Alicia pulls through at the very end there. That was a very intense battle.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody.
Great job.
Alicia will be
Come on.
back.
Oh,
Make sure for your schedule, we will tell you. You're going to come back to take that champion on
Oh, no.
against Comic Book Girl 19. I think, is that the first? No.
I'm gonna
it's
fail.
one of the
It's-
first wins on a first round. I think she.
Boom.
That's
We have 2 in a row now.
Thought I-
Alicia and 19 have both
Right,
come in
19
and won
last
the
week.
first
Thought I would do
Wow.
really badly.
So
I-
two main competitors here.
I got to
Hashtag-
start training now
Yes,
because I
this is
have
tough.
2 worthy
They're
competitors.
very good. I want to scare you.
Hashtag coward cam.
Okay. I want to thank. I promised some teasing. So next week's movie fights to help. We have your most requested guest ever. I think is
far.
that fair?
By far.
We'll be doing a special episode of Movie Fights.
Just Nick Mundy.
Jeremy Johns is coming next week to Movie Fights.
Yeah.
We're very excited to have him.
Awesome-tacular.
We don't know who he's battling yet. Who do you want to see him battle? Not Dan. I think we're going to keep Dan out. Well, maybe not. Tell us who you want to see him battle us on Twitter, hashtag Twitter at Screen Junkies or at Andy Signore. Tell us who you want to see. Also in the comments on YouTube, who would you want to see him battle? Because he lives in Seattle, I think he's in. He can't do this regularly, so the title bout's not in it. It's just going to be a fun battle with the most requested guests we have. The week after will be the title bout with Dan Murrell takes on you, Alicia, and Comic Book Girl 19 to see who is the now going to keep that belt. So very exciting stuff to come.
And when you tear that belt from his cold, dead hands, I want you to come back on the show every week and defend it like a true champion.
Well, no, we won't let her do that because we want it to be. We want to build up. We want the people. So, thank you, everybody. Make sure you please check us out on iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. Also on YouTube, if you're listening on iTunes, youtube.com/Screen Junkies. Popcorn Talk Network. So many great shows there. Meet the Movie Press, Marvel Movie News, Jedi Alliance,
Profiles.
the Schmoes Knows, Profiles, Schmoes Know podcasts. Go check them out, please. Links are in the description. Please, please, please go support them. Also, I want to make sure you guys know on break.com/movies, you can watch full-length streamed movies. There are ones that are Screen Junkies approved. Please go check out a movie and go tell them that Screen Junkies sent you. We want to go support that. It's a very fun thing that we are involved in to help get some fun free movies out for you guys to see.
Is Halloween 3 on there?
I want to. Maybe go check it out. I don't know. I think a lot of the Leprechaun movies are some of the fun stuff. I want to thank our panelists here, Spencer Gilbert at Spencer J. Gilbert. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. I'm clearly better in writing than I am in person.
Very close. Alicia Malone. Wow, you killed it. At Alicia Malone, correct? Anything you'd like to plug?
I'm sweating. Just watch Profiles on Popcorn Talk Network. We're doing Tom Hanks next week.
Oh, okay. So it was on your brain.
It's on my brain.
Roger Barr at I-Mockery. I'm so sorry. You were close.
Hey,
you pulled it
sorry.
ahead. Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at I-M-O-C-K-E-R-Y. Go to imockery.com. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Roger Barr. And also, hashtag give Roger Ecto Cooler.
I'm on board with
On the
that.
Dan
I
Cam,
agree.
back in charge. It's Dan Murrell at Murrell Dan.
At Merle Dan, I look forward to seeing Roger and Nick in the audience for the first title bout. And,
You're welcome to come watch.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Royal Rumble.
I'd let you-
and I'd like to say,
Yeah.
I'd like to say happy birthday to my mom.
Very nice. Happy birthday, Mrs. Merle. And
Sweet.
please follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Andy Signore. I am going to tease something that I probably am not supposed to, but I'm just going to because I'm sort of the boss. We have an epic collab coming on this week's Honest Trailer.
You can call it epic.
It's epic. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Andy Signore, and I'll give you the tease. Because I'm a jerk.
Who's the pander cam?
I'm pandering.
Yeah, right.
But seriously, this one's good. Come check it out. And obviously, please tell us what you want to see on the show, who you want us to get to come fight, all those fun things. And please also hashtag speed round. I want some more speed round questions in Twitter. So all you fans out there, send us a bunch. You guys aren't allowed to check them, but just send them so we have some options. Thanks so much for everybody. See you next week. I hope the Super Bowl was fun, and hopefully our show was better. Have a great one. See you next
Yeah,
week.
watch this instead of the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version. Lastly, please support our friends at the Popcorn Talk Network for more awesome shows.